my name's Phil Peace, but that's a story in itself. My full name, Anthony Philip Peace, but I always use just Phil Peace. And started watching the Rovers. My dad took me to the Bristol Rovers FA Cup replay in 1959. And since that night, Doncaster have been my team. We lived at a place called Maltby, just outside a naughty place called Rotherham. And all my peers at that time were supporting that team. So my brother, younger brother, he was one of the unclean. So eventually, through a lot of education, he became a Rovers supporter as well. It took me many years, but I eventually got there. My children, I have 2 boys and a girl, and the 2 boys are Rovers supporters, but I worked quite a bit down south in Watford, when Watford were in the First Division, West Ham, and consequently my eldest were a Watford supporter and then a West Ham supporter. And eventually I got him to support Doncaster Rovers as well, just through education. I just love Doncaster Rovers. We go away to most games when we can. Occasionally there's games where I can't get to. But other than that, I just love Doncaster Rovers and coming to this magnificent stadium. I used to enjoy going to Bellevue because at half time, and if the game weren't up to much, you could always watch the gliders taking off and landing at the Rosso end. So yeah, I've enjoyed my time coming and watching Rovers. As I said, started in '59, which were more than a fortnight ago. So how many years I can't remember.
Do you have any standout moments over all these years?
I remember one particular one during the Sean O'Driscoll period. And I was sat over there, the other side, and we were playing Queen's Park Rangers, and I think we had 30 passes or so before they even touched the ball, and the only way they could get it is by fouling one of the Rovers players. That was a standout moment for me, and of course the 2 magnificent victories, one at the Millennium Stadium and the one at Wembley when we beat them over there. So yeah, they're my standout moments.
And it seemed to me then from that wonderful story that your family also sharing your love for Rovers is important to you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. My carer, bless her, my partner, she used to watch the occasional game of football, but as we've been together, she's become a Rovers supporter. Perhaps not as ardent as I am, but certainly a Rovers supporter. And we've also brought our grandchildren to watch the Rovers, and they're 6 and 5. No, 7 and 5, aren't they?
So you're almost single-handedly responsible for the entire Doncaster Rovers fan base. What's the secret? You know, when you've had people change teams from one to the Rovers, what's the secret? How you get it? What's this education you talk about?
Well, just by constantly pestering them, really. even the people I worked with down in London, on a Monday morning, they'd be saying, oh, how did you get on? Well, silly really, because they could tell how I got on by my mood. if we'd lost, which you can, did happen occasionally, I wouldn't be too good to talk to.
Is there in all these years a standout era?
Oh, Sean O'Driscoll era. That beyond doubt the best era, with John Ryan, of course. Can't forget John. But yeah, that's the standout era for me. I mean, you also had the likes of Alec Jeffrey. He was way beyond anything that we could sign. His footballing brain was brilliant, and Charlie Williams. I never got to see him play, but I heard a lot about him. Well, yeah, the standout for me would be O'Driscoll era. It was great football to watch, and of course we did a lot of winning.
Yeah, and if I was to say to you, what does supporting Doncaster Rovers mean to you? What would you say to that?
It's my life. As I say, we go away. I mean, Paula, go away when we can, and the away games are not a problem. Just enjoy going and spending time with other Rovers fans, and when you're on the coach travelling there, we both like to listen and observe people, and you can pick up little snippets of history from the conversations that they have on the coaches. I just love Rovers and hope we can go from strength to strength.